Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. First, yes, I cut my hair. Yes, I also put it in a bun right after, and it ruined the cute little blowout thing that she did for me because I am not used to having short hair, and I did not know that having the hair in a bun would literally fuck it up so much. So yes, now let's get actually into the video. So every time I make a wrap up for like a crazy month where I've read like 10 or 15 books, which does happen sometimes, hasn't happened recently, but it does happen, I get so many questions from people asking me how to read more and how to read faster, and oh my god, how can you read so many books? So I thought today I'd finally sit down and give you my top 5 tips on how to read more and how to read faster, I guess. So my first tip is to only read one book at a time. Maybe that sounds counterproductive or counterintuitive to some of you. I know that some people really love like reading multiple books at the same time and just picking up whatever they're in the mood for. But personally, I feel like if I don't focus on one book, I get nothing done. Like I will literally just like muddle through it and like read a few pages here, a few pages there, and overall it feels like the entire experience is extended so much because obviously, yes, maybe you're gonna be finished like with 5 books at the same time, but you could have just read them in the same time like after the other, and you maybe would have more of a feeling of like, I've read something, you know, more of like an accomplishment afterwards. Not that that's even what it's about when it comes to reading. It's not like, oh my god, I've read a book, yay, go me, but like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of keeps you motivated to feel like, okay, I've read this one, now let's do the next one. Tip number 2 is pretty straightforward. Make time to read. I know you have the time to read. Everybody has the time to read. We just often used to spend that time on our phones instead of actually reading a book. I am sometimes guilty of this as well. Like all of the situations, like when I'm eating or like, I don't know, just waiting for something, sitting in a bus, doing whatever. You could be on your phone, and it's often just easier to do that, but actually you could also be reading a book in that exact moment. So just think about if that is a priority for you, and maybe put that phone aside, leave Instagram for later, and just read that book that you really wanted to read. Even if for each of these short little times that you would like look at your phone for 5 minutes, you only get through like 2 pages, you just make so much more progress in the long run, and then in the span of a day, you know, you might get through an entire chapter or whatever. And if you like read just before bed instead of being on your phone just before bed, you know, it's like, I think it's those little things that make a difference. And so you don't have to sit down to like read for 3 hours straight. You can read it like little installments, and often you will get kind of so into it that after those like few minutes that you've said you wanted to read are up, or maybe after you finish your food, you won't put the book away, but you kind of want to keep reading anyway because it's so exciting and you want to know what happens next. Number 3 is something I would never have thought that I would recommend, but it's to have a big TBR and to have a lot of options of what you could choose to read. Especially for me, when I'm in the mood to read, I'm not just in the mood to read anything, but I'm usually in the mood to read something specific. So maybe I'm in the mood to read a fantasy, or to read a crime novel, or a mystery novel, or something non-fiction. Eventually, I will be in the mood to read all of these, but I'm never at one given point in the mood to read just anything. So I think it helps to just have something to choose from. So maybe on a particular day you don't read anything because you would have been in the mood to read a non-fiction novel, but you don't have any, so you don't read anything. Most of us have a big TBR anyway, so this is kind of already a thing that's solved, but I just think maybe if you get a few, you don't have to get like 30 books if you're just starting to build your TBR or something, but you can just get one out of each category, and then, you know, just keep them around for whenever you're in the mood for a particular genre. The next tip I have is to just buy physical books and not ebooks. In my experience, if you have ebooks, first of all, you tend to forget which ones you have, and also you like don't really see them unless you actively go and look for them. If you have physical books and you keep them in nice little shelves like all around your room, the beautiful spines just staring at you invitingly, you're much more likely, I think, to go and pick it up and read it. Especially for me, I often get enticed to read just by looking at my bookshelf. So it definitely helps to have them around, and also kind of reminds you that you have something there that you should be reading. I think this is true for most things. Like if you see it constantly on a daily basis, you're much more likely to remember it, to think of it, and to eventually go and do it. And my last tip is, do not worry about this at all. I know this kind of somewhat negates the first 4, but those are for the people that really do want to read more. Honestly though, why do you want to read more just for the sake of reading more? Take your time reading the books that you are reading. Don't rush through them because you want to add them to your read list on Goodreads. Read them, enjoy them, go through them, and like really pace yourself and savor them in a way. I know I can't do that either when I have a book that I love and I just like need to know the ending. Then obviously that's a different story, but don't just rush through a book or speed read or like just read a few words on the page just to get through it. Like that's the kind of thing that you do with books that you maybe need to read for class, you know, that you don't really care about. But honestly, if you're reading for fun, for entertainment, in your free time, you know, why would you hurry? Why would you put stress on yourself in a situation that is supposed to be relaxing? If you're somebody that takes forever to read a book, you will also probably remember it longer. Actually, I know that for a fact because a friend of mine takes years to read, but she also just like retains that information forever. I forget most books like maybe a week after I read them. Like I probably wouldn't be able to tell you most of the names of the characters and details of the plot like a week after I put it down, because I read a lot and like they're there for an instant and then they're gone again. So everything has like pros and cons, obviously. I just am a fast reader because I enjoy to read fast, but you don't have to do that if that's not like something that comes natural to you. You don't have to force yourself to become that. So just sit back, relax, and read that book and then pick up the next one, you know, whenever you feel like it. It's still a hobby, you know, obviously, especially if you have like a large TBR, you want to be more efficient maybe and you want to read more, but still it's a hobby. You shouldn't put stress into that thing that doesn't need to be stressful at all and is definitely not supposed to be. So that's where I'm going to end today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and I hope it was helpful to those of you who have been asking me for advice on this topic. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to see you soon. Have a lovely week. Bye!